Welcome to episode number 52. I'm CJ Werleman, Mubarak Eid, and thank you for joining us. In this week's episode, we look at the powerful Christian Zionist movement and how it's moving ever closer towards its goal of demolishing Islam's Dome on the Rock and constructing a third Jewish temple atop its ruins. But first, a quick reminder to click on the subscribe button below so you can never miss a single episode. Now let's get into it. Moving quietly under the radar is the ever more powerful Christian Zionist movement, which is cause for great concern, given this radical ideology has moved from the fringes of American society to where it's now located front and center within the Republican Party. Their goal is simple to understand. They wish for the total destruction of the Palestinian people. Their ideology now dominates the megachurches of America.
The megachurch boasts 18,000 members. And tonight, 5,000 of the faithful have crowded into the auditorium for what's dubbed a national night to honor Israel.
Send a message to America. Send a message to the enemies of Israel. Send a message to the people of Israel. Israel, you are not alone. We are with you.
You see, whereas former US presidents, including George W. Bush, kept the Christian Zionist movement at arm's distance because they saw them as immovable obstacles to a two-state solution, former US President Donald Trump embraced them. In fact, he made the poster boy for Christian Zionism, Mike Pence, his vice president, who announced his promise to fulfill the Christian Zionist list of demands at the annual summit for Christians United for Israel in 2017. Just a few months after taking office.
My friends, to look at Israel is to see that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob keeps his promises. Keeps the promises he makes to his people and to each one of us. The Jewish people have turned the desert into a garden, sickness into health, scarcity into plenty, despair into hope, and slander into blessings, rebuking all who condemn them, not for what they do wrong, but for what they do right. And under President Donald Trump, if the world knows nothing else, the world will know this: America stands with Israel, now and always.
Barely 6 months later, Pence helped Christian Zionists deliver a death blow to a future Palestinian state by moving the US Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a move that constitutes a bona fide war crime, given it recognizes Israel's criminal annexation of occupied East Jerusalem.
The United States, Guatemala, and Paraguay all recently moved their embassies here to Jerusalem, and there was a common thread of inspiration amongst the three transfers: Christian Zionism. And it's no surprise that all three delegations met here at the Friends of Zion Museum to learn more about the story of Christian Zionism and why the relationship between the Jewish state and Christians around the world is now more important than ever.
So what is Christian Zionism, and what do Christian Zionists want? Well, there are roughly 70 million self-described Christian Zionists in the United States today. But their ideological beliefs are based less on the Bible and more in a book published in 1878 titled Jesus is Coming, which was written by a guy named William E. Blackstone, who was a Chicago businessman come evangelical preacher. His book can be summarized as such: Satan takes control of Israel after making peace with the Jews, but then later turns against them, which heralds the arrival of Christ, who then converts a third of the Jewish population to Christianity before bringing them to heaven, while leaving the other two-thirds to be killed during the Armageddon. Put another way, Christian Zionists support Israel in hope of ushering in the end times and the massacre of two-thirds of the Jewish population. Their fanatical support for the Zionist state starts and ends there, and at great human and political cost to the territory's indigenous population, the Palestinian people. Christian Zionists have invested millions of dollars during recent decades towards expanding Israel and ethnically cleansing Palestine, having sponsored the migration of thousands of Jews from Russia, Ethiopia, and other countries. The recent documentary, Till Kingdom Come, captured the ideology and power of the Christian Zionist voting bloc in the United States.
I believe that Palestine is a place on God's map.
That's not evangelicalism, that's fact of history.
The State Department was so afraid to move our embassy to Jerusalem, but to us was a very important signal in prophecy. We've been waiting for that to happen for decades.
So now we're watching end time signs for the second coming of Christ. There's going to be great tribulation in Israel. There's going to be an end-time battle, the Battle of Armageddon.
What the Muslim world must grapple with is that the Christian Zionist movement is far more powerful than any Israeli political group, party or leader, because Christian Zionists, now backed by the most powerful country on the planet, have the power to inflict the kind of misery and humiliation on Palestinians that Israeli Zionists can only dream about. Put simply, Christian Zionists are getting stuff done, and fast. Remembering it was Christians United for Israel who took credit for the Abraham Accords, a US brokered deal that coerced and cajoled Arab Gulf states into normalizing the apartheid and colonial rule of the Zionist state over the Palestinian people. And what Christian Zionists want more than anything is for the demolition of Al-Aqsa Mosque and the construction of a third Jewish temple atop its ruins, to fulfill their wacky belief that Christ will not return until a new temple is built upon the Temple Mount. And on the same day the United States moved its embassy to Jerusalem, then Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not so subtly signaled his intent to fulfill this Christian Zionist prophecy.
The soldiers of Israel spoke three immortal words: Har Habayit Be'adenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Is in our hands. Words that lifted the spirit of the entire nation. We are in Jerusalem and we are here to stay.
Today, the Christian Zionist strategy to help Israel seize the mosque compound, demolish the Dome on the Rock, and construct a third Jewish temple is playing out before our very eyes. And the strategy goes like this: incite Palestinian protests by ethnically cleansing occupied Jerusalem, carry out violent raids on Al-Aqsa Mosque, and then use this violence as a pretext to construct a third temple. I mean, Israel's Jerusalem Post spelled out this strategy in black and white print on April 22nd, just days after Israeli occupation forces did this to Palestinian worshippers at Islam's third holiest site during Ramadan.
This has become a familiar scene. Dozens of Israeli forces in riot gear storming the grounds of Al-Aqsa just after daybreak, firing rubber bullets, tear gas, and stun grenades. Young Palestinians respond with fireworks, throwing rocks and anything they can find. It is the height of the holy month of Ramadan.
And now watch here as an Israeli drone fires a tear gas bomb on Palestinian worshippers at the site. Now, there's a good reason why Israel has attacked the mosque 4 times since the signing of the Abraham Accords, including once during Ramadan 2021 and 3 times during this year's holy month. And the reason is this: the Abraham Accords document very clearly states that the mosque is not under Muslim sovereignty and therefore giving a green light for Israeli sovereignty. It is therefore not unreasonable to conclude that Israel's right-wing government is sending aloft a test balloon or trial run for its often stated aim of seizing the Temple Mount and constructing a third temple atop the ruins of the Dome of the Rock, putting Christian Zionists within touching distance of their end times prophecy. The re-election of Trump or the successful presidential candidacy of Mike Pence in 2024 might just be enough to push Christian Zionists over the top. For the sake of the Palestinians, let's hope the Muslim world is paying attention. Christian Zionists are on the march. Anyway, that's a wrap for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to this channel and help spread the word with your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And we kindly ask that you please support our endeavor by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWellerman. We can't produce, sustain, and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, or good day, wherever you are, and stay blessed.